I want to welcome everybody. To our reorganizational meeting, and I'm glad that you are all so patient. And so we're going to start this off tonight by having our clerk, Christian Sampson, call the roll.
Councilman Withers.
Present.
Councilwoman Charles.
Here.
Councilman Tress.
Here.
Councilman Ullman.
Here.
Supervisor St. Lawrence.
Here. I'd like to ask Councilwoman Charles to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, I want to thank you all for coming. I also wanted to recognize Dr. Chuck Stead, who works for us in the town as our environmental guru. Stand up, Chuck. And I also want you to be able to get a look at the case that he is here. He has some of the tiles from the Henry Varnum Poor House. Henry Varnum Poor was a great American artist and sculptor and potter, and he made some great tiles. And we purchased his property in the town of Clarkstown to preserve it. And we're in the process of preserving that. Even though it's not in the town of Ramapo, it's an historic house, and we wanted to preserve it. So, Chuck, I want to thank you very much. And you can get to see Chuck on our TV station as well. He's a great storyteller, and he just received his doctorate. So, Chuck, thank you very much. And Chuck also is the person that put together the Salt Box House in the Torn Valley. It's a house from 1791, and that was reconstructed. It's there. We run environmental programs there. He's presently doing a curriculum for all the schools. So we're going to incorporate that in with the schools. And it's great building up there at the Salt Box House. As a matter of fact, it's so cold out. Thank you. It's so cold that when Chuck got up this morning, he renamed the Salt Box House to the Ice Box House. All right. It was so cold today that Alan Berman was seen wearing Richard Ackerson's scarf. There, that's an inside one. There we go. We have some very special guests here, and some I'm going to invite up in a minute, but I certainly want to recognize our Superintendent of Highways, Tony Sharon. And Captain Coakley is with him there. We also have with us Justice from the town of, from the village of Spring Valley, David Freed. Justice Freed. He'll be coming up to swear in Brandell. We have our own town justice and Spring Valley justice, and that's Alan Simon. And also from Nita Lowy's office, we had Jesse Malowitz was here, and I know he had to run down to Orangetown, but we want to thank Nita Lowy for all the work that she does for us here in this town of Ramapo. And she was also instrumental in helping us bring sewers to Western Ramapo, something we worked on for 15 years, to be able to bring sewers to the people, the minority community of Hilburn that never had sewers, and to Sloatsburg. It was a $200 million project that we've accomplished. Every home in Sloatsburg and Hilburn now has sewers. And it's a wonderful thing. And this $200 million project, we were able to get funding from Washington, D.C., and Nita Lowy and Elliot Angle and Ben Gilman were a big part of that as well, along with then U.S. Senator Hillary Clinton as well. And we also were able to receive $10 million from President Obama and his stimulus program. So through all of that package, we were able to bring those sewers into Western Ramapo, which is a great thing. And at the same time, this town board, members that are here and future past members of the town board, were able to work on buying properties in the town of Ramapo, over $55 million worth of properties that we purchased, thousands and thousands of acres, especially in Western Ramapo where our water source is. And with that, our very first purchase was the well fields in Western Ramapo. And that well field property was contaminated with paint sludge from the Ford Motor Company. And working with Chuck and with our town attorneys and environmentalist attorneys, we were able to get Ford Motor Company to come back after they closed that plant in Mahwah in 1974. And we put the heat on them, but we worked with them. We didn't end up going to court as they have in other places like Ringwood where they haven't had a cleanup. And we had Ford realize that the right thing to do was to clean this up. This is right where all the 40% of the water from Rockland County is on this property. They have removed, on the first phase, over 40,000 tons of toxic material, had to ship it out to Utah to special areas. This was toxic material that was going to infect future generations. So we are so proud of the work that we're doing for the environment. And Chuck, I know you have a lecture coming up in the library shortly to continue that and to talk more about that. But we've had really a great effort to protect that Torrent Valley from power plants that wanted to come in there. Many of you are too young to recognize. I know we have a lot of kids here, but 15 years ago, the largest power plant in the nation wanted to be built. American National Power wanted to build an 1,100 megawatt power plant in the Torrent Valley, and we stopped them. And we fought even the own state of New York under the Article 10 process. And Scythe Energies from England wanted to build a 759 megawatt power plant in the Torrent Valley as well, and we stopped that. I'll never forget the demonstrations that we had right here in this room with the chief of the Lenape Nation, who said, we think about what we do to the environment going out 7 generations. And that's how we all need to think, to have a sustainable world. And it's so important. But we won those battles, and it was grassroots efforts. I'll never forget a little child. What's your name?
Savannah.
Savannah, come over here for 1 second. We want to see you on TV. Savannah, there was a little child that came to protest, and I'll never forget. And he had a sign that he was carrying to stop the power plant. And the sign said, "You build it, I'll cough." What grade are you in, Savannah?
I'm in kindergarten.
Kindergarten. Wow. Wow. Where are you going to, where are you in school? You don't have to, we're not giving out all the information at once. We're not. I want to introduce you to somebody very special that I'm going to call up here right now, because we can talk about how great we do in the environment, about helping open space, and we can talk about so many things and recreation in our town, but the greatest thing that we have is right here, our future. And the greatest thing that we can do is to provide access to opportunity for young people to get a great education in this town. And we have somebody very special. I'm going to ask Dr. Deborah L. Wortham to come right up here.
I know what school she goes to.
See, you have to, the superintendent, Dr. Wortham can get that information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, let me say one thing first. I am so glad that you're here.
So cozy.
And I'm so glad that you're here, not just tonight, but that you're here in this town. I believe that the work that you've done your whole life, and I know this because you told me, that all the work that you did, she did. One day at the ballpark, you told me that all the work that you did in your life, you felt had brought you to this point and had educated you and brought you and given you the knowledge and the experience to come in and to tackle the situation in East Ramapo. And I have seen you in action. I've seen you at DARE graduations, I've seen you at commitment ceremonies, and you are doing it.
In the same way that he said he saw me, guess what? In order to see me, you had to be there, right?
Would you give us a little address? I'll take Savannah over here. Will you?
Can Savannah stay?
Savannah can stay. Yes, I'll bring this right over here. Come on, Savannah. Stand right over here with the doctor and I. Oh, she wants the microphone now.
Okay, Savannah, tell them the name of your school. Wait a minute.
My name in my school is Kipstar Harlem.
Oh,
Round of
shakes.
applause. So this evening, good evening, everyone. I want to give honor to the town board. Thank you so very much. I see love up there. And the reason why I can say that I see love is because I feel love, and to whom much is given, much is required. I see you, and you always in our district, and I am just so very grateful. The very first person who called me to welcome me to this district is none other than Councilwoman Brendel Charles. So you own that honor, and no one can take that. But the person who is the most consistent in showing up and coming and supporting our district is none other than Supervisor. He is consistent, and I am so grateful. And the one thing that I learned, I never want to speak after him. If we're on a program, please let me go first. Let me go first, because once Supervisor St. Lawrence, the house lights just go up and down. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to serve on a board with 9 individuals who are just relentless about the work that they do. I'm grateful for our board member here, Board Member Charles. Thank you so very much. Mr. Bernard Charles, put your hands together. And I saw Mr. Pierre somewhere. I saw Mr. Pierre. One of the greatest things that boards will do is to hire a superintendent. And so I'm trying to make it very difficult for them, very hard as they go through this search process. But we have a 5-point plan, and that 5-point plan, Supervisor, came from the hearts and the minds of our students. And I'll leave this testimony and then I'll take my seat. But my first day here in the district, November 2nd, visiting schools, I asked students, what can I do to be the best interim superintendent? What can I do? And one student pointed her finger at me and she said, are you going to make sure that we're safe? Wait a minute, put your finger down. I'm the interim, put your finger down. And another student said, are you going to make sure that we have the right food? Are you going to make sure? And they had these questions. And I'm visiting all the schools, and they're all saying the same thing. And it came up with a 5-point plan, which really is a national plan. Students must be healthy. They must be safe. They must be supported. They must be engaged. Got your ring finger, Supervisor?
Yep.
And they must be challenged. See? And the only way you can do that is if you are consistently in our district walking and talking and understanding what we need. Our kids, just like Savannah right here, our kids must have healthy thoughts. We talk about bullying, healthy thoughts, healthy attitudes, healthy choices. Another student said, are you going to support us? Some of us can't speak the language. Some of us don't know English. Are you going to support us? And that's how we came up with the 5-point plan. Everything that we address in our district is one of those 5 tenets. So I say to you, you and you, if you would like to support us and if you would like to make Supervisor happy, come out and mentor one of our seniors. Our seniors, in order to walk the stage this year, they have to take the SAT. They have to apply to a college. They must have an acceptable GPA. They must have passed all of the regents, and they must have 50 service learning hours, community service learning hours. There's a flyer around
And
there
attendance.
I know, he's just saying. So, in attendance. That's the commitment. We are making sure our students are certified and qualified going from crayon to college. And with that, I will take my seat. But thank you so very much, Town Board. Thank you,
Stay right here for
Supervisor.
one more second, Superintendent, and you can stay right here as well, because on the night of commitment at Spring Valley High School, we had a very, very special person to get up and sing. And I've asked her to come up and sing for us the national anthem.
Wow.
And her name is
Teresa.
Melissa.
And
Melissa
there's that. I know it's
Denzel.
like
I know you're new in the district, and we're gonna get the interim off of that too. You're the superintendent. Melissa Denzar.
Oh my goodness.
Denzar, come right
you're
up.
gonna make me cry.
Please rise. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's its last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you.
Wow. Come over here and take a bow. All right. I want everybody at home to be able to see to see the woman behind that voice. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, we have another special treat coming up. We have welcoming back to the East Ramapo School District, who had a short little hiatus in the Nyack School District, but now back into East Ramapo, our own Michael Smith. Go ahead, go ahead. Come out there. I'll stand.
Okay. So,
I was marching in the band. I don't know if you know. Yeah,
so a lot of
I'm a
students-
member.
In the summers, we have something very special. We've been doing it here for, 8 years? And it's coming back this year, and it's a jazz workshop. And it includes everybody from town around. But a lot of these students performed in the jazz workshop. It's where they've got the first chance to play jazz. And, obviously, we've been trying to push it. And as a matter of fact, where's Marilyn? Come up here. Marilyn teaches in Spring Valley and Rampo. She was
Clarinetist.
clarinetist in the jazz workshop when we first started. And this is the first year, so I want to brag about her because she did a lot of work with the marching band up here. So I'll give you for Marilyn.
You know, we realized that programs were being cut in music, and so we ran this summer camp, this jazz program, and we had kids from all over the county of Rockland that were here, from Suffern, from Ramapo, from Spring Valley High Schools, but Pearl River High Schools. I remember we had some great musicians there, and Nyack and Tappan Zee, and we would then put on concerts here that we would play. Jack still runs those on commercials on our TV show. Yes, I don't know if we have some rights for them, but I know we run some great jazz that was played. You know what my favorite was?
What was?
Oh, what, my favorite jazz song?
Tommy James?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tommy James was we had him in one of the workshops because
He came and played.
Director of the Duke Ellington Orchestra, so he came and worked with us.
Yeah, it was
But
great.
the exciting thing, I'm going to push this. What's our goal in terms of getting students from marching band next year? We talked about today. What's the number? 150.
That's-
We start our first marching band rehearsal this week. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm saying this. I say it. I said, man, we're going to get at least 100, but we're going for 150 students in our East Rockland marching band next year. We are back. Check us out.
I'll never forget the first jazz, the first program I went over. It was at Spring Valley High School. It was a hot summer day, and I snuck over there when you guys were working there in the classroom at Spring Valley High School, and you were surprised to see me. And I'll tell you, and they can tell you, you are one tough band leader. I'll tell you. You. No, she's a doll. But you are tough. You demand it from the kids, but the kids give it back, and we see the talent here tonight. So talented.
I want to say something. Our biggest supporter, and she's a member of the band now, it's her band now, is Dr. Worthing.
Absolutely.
She came in the first time she stood a bit. The band's great. She goes, but we don't have enough. And she says, and she's dedicated to helping us out, and we're her band. And I have no problem with that because we're going to get everything we need. Right, Dr. Worthing?
Well, as an alumni of Suffern High School, I've got to say the Suffern High School band has really come on strong.
And Randy
Really.
worked for me. I know. He's
Yeah,
great.
they really, and they have a great number. So 150. Well, we hope we're going to get every one of those at the jazz camp as well. All right. Oh, the director has spoken. She needs a photo. We want you in the photo then. Bernard, take the picture. Oh, she's going to do a selfie.
Yo, everybody, wait.
No. Don't push me this time.
On the count of three, say,
I see her doing that everywhere. All right. East Ramapo Marching Band. Let's hear it for them. And you thought you were just coming to some kind of swearing in. You know, to shift gears a little bit, I think it'd be appropriate to bring up a friend of mine. I call him Pastor. He doesn't need to be called Pastor. He's much hipper than that. He's with the young people, and that's Sean Clay. I'll get it for you. I'll bring.
Can we bow our heads for a word of prayer? Father, we thank you tonight that we are standing under open heavens. We thank you for the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We ask that you set your approval on this night. We thank you for all elected officials. We thank you for everyone that is in this room. We thank you for the love that we feel. But tonight, God, is Brendel Charles' night. We thank you for her family. We thank you for her husband. We thank you for what you have done this night, because it was set before the foundations of the world. We ask you, God, that when she takes this office, that she remembers her oath to serve the people. We thank you, God, that no weapon formed against her shall prosper. We ask, God, when times get hard, that she'll find a secret place. For he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. We thank you, we thank you, we thank you for a modern day Sojourner Truth. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. Can you bring up?
Thank you.
I just want to say also that it's the swearing in of myself, as well as Supervisor St. Lawrence and Mr. Tress. But you covered us.
You had it right. They're being sworn in. I get sworn at.
Because age. But you covered it when you said the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We're all covered.
Well, Brendel, why don't we have you come down here, and should we bring up Judge David Freed?
Yes.
And anybody in the audience that you would like to bring up with you for the oath of office for
My family.
Councilwoman Brendel Logan Charles. So we now accept. And if I could put in an addendum onto what Pastor Clay said, I would say if I had to pick any passage of the Bible to describe you, Brendel, it would be Matthew 24. How we treat those with the least among us is how we will be judged. And you are out there every day doing it and providing for the people in this town. Thank you. Thank you.
So my family, and you know who you are, please join me, because without you, it's not possible. Come on.
Might need a bigger area. There's like 35 family members here, so.
And if you're not sure and you want to be, and you need a family, you can come on up too. We'll take you.
Hi. How are you? No, you. You guys want to come on up there? Shift over a little bit so you're in the pictures. I don't.
Gil, Joe, Tiffany.
Councilwoman. You don't have to have the Bible.
But I would like to have
I don't have it.
Okay.
It's something that typically
It's not you.
you would have,
Wait.
but you don't have to have it.
Come in the back.
Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Have your family member hold it for
I'll
you.
have my mother come.
Okay. All right. All right. See, what did I tell you about 35 people? Okay. All right. First of all, if I can just say Happy New Year to everyone, and I'm very honored that you asked me to officiate your swearing in. I wish you a term of incredible success to the entire town board, and keep it up. I've seen you out there, and you have a tremendous commitment to people. So with that said, you're going to put your left hand on the Bible, you're going to raise your right hand, and you're going to repeat after me. I, Brendel Logan Charles, do solemnly swear
I, Brendel Logan Charles,
Do solemnly swear.
Get it together.
It's from the heart, it's okay.
I, Brendel,
do solemnly swear
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York.
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
That I will faithfully discharge my duties as
that I will faithfully discharge my duties as
Councilwoman for the town of Ramapo
Councilwoman for the town of Ramapo
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Councilwoman.
So I just want to say also that our judge, David, whom I love very much from many moons ago when he first started out in politics, and we said we weren't going to do this, but you see we are. He's been newly elected. He was at Spring Valley. He was a judge. He ran a race. I'm kind of glad he lost it because now he's back as judge, and he is the best judge that Spring Valley's ever had. And what he does for the children in that village to help them so that if they get into trouble, he can put them back on the right path and that their life is not over just because they made a mistake. And I thank God for him every day for
you very
working
much.
with our children and our children of color. So thank you. And I'm happy.
Congratulations.
Everybody who came to see me tonight that didn't come up, you know you're my family. I know you're shy, but I love you. And from the bottom of my heart, in case I forget what I'm doing or I lose my way, just tug at my shoulder and let me know that it's all about serving the people in the town of Ramapo. Thank you.
Before we bring up our next guest, there's something before we have our next swearing in. I have a very special guest that I'd like to bring up at this time. I'd like to ask Detective Greg Whalen to come up, please. I remember when Detective Whalen was a patrol officer, and I was riding home. I live in Wesley Hills, and I was riding home. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and I heard something come over my police radio that there was an armed robbery taking place at the gas station on the corner of Willow Tree Road, East Willow Tree and 306. So I went there. Believe me, I wasn't... I have a very dedicated, we have in the town a very dedicated, all of you have a very dedicated professional police force. That's a community-minded police force. It's a police force that we receive every year over 62,000 calls through our desk. That's how much we are a community police force, because people in the community know they see something, they say something. They feel comfortable and they call our police department. And I came on the scene, and behind the grocery store at Willow Tree, the perpetrator with the weapon was fleeing. Greg Whalen ran after him. Not many of us would probably do that, but he did. He caught up to him. He was able to arrest the person. When I got there to the scene, the gun was laying on the ground. The person was sitting there. He was handcuffed, but he was treated with total respect. But that takes bravery. And I've witnessed that bravery in Greg Whalen for his whole career here. He had 8 years in the New York City Police Department before he came here. I know in his heart he'd like to be an earth science teacher in high school. Would you not?
Yes, I would.
I know that you
Well,
studied
maybe
for
I've
that.
got my resume in the back of the room.
Dr. Wertheimer won't be accepting that. But one of the toughest things, I think, is is when it comes to negotiation of police contracts, and we've negotiated quite a few police contracts. But I want people to know tonight we're going to be voting on a new 5-year police contract. And it is really an historic contract for the County of Rockland, for this town, probably for the state of New York. This contract, which will include 2015, was the year we just left, and the raise for 2015 will be 0% for the police department. The raise for this year, in 2016, will be 0%. And the raise in 2017 will be 0. And in 2018, it will be a 0 split 1 for 0.5%. And in 2019, it will be a 0 split 2 for 1%. So it will be a 1.5% increase over the next 5 years. With that, we will be putting in a new 384E retirement program for our officers, and with that we will be able to move our department along and be able to bring in new, younger people into our department because this will incentivize for retirements for people who have been around for a long time. If you've been in this department now, and this is kind of a historic thing, if you've been in our department for 32 years, every year from now on, you'll start losing your steps. Each year, you will give up a step. It takes 3 years to get a step. You'll be giving those steps up. New hires. We also took the longevity away from a percentage and put it at a flat rate at $2,600 per step longevity. And we then, for new hires, changed the longevity to a 4-year period. We lowered the longevity on all new hires from $2,600 to $1,000. And we have structurally changed the future. I remember Greg saying to me one time, there's going to be a supervisor 15 years from now. I hope it's still me, Greg. that will say, wow, Supervisor St. Lawrence and this Ramapo Town Board actually changed the structure of how we police our community and how we pay for that. And it's important. I mean, we are the highest paid police force in the state of New York. We're the highest paid CSEA workers in the state of New York. And I'm proud of that fact because they are so dedicated and our workers are so dedicated. And I see it every day. And I know that as a town, we take our new hires only off of people that live in this town. We just had our police graduation for our youth academy. And we are training young people of color and of our diversity in this great ethnically diverse community to become police officers because we want our police department to reflect our community. And Greg, you as the head of the PBA, as president of the PBA, I guess you're now retiring. I think it's not because you didn't do a good job, but
Well, after hearing what you said, the guys are in the back ready to beat me down.
I bet they are. So, we really worked well together.
Yeah, we did.
We worked all year on this. I want to give a special comment to Councilman Yitzi Ullman, who joined us. We met, I think, every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. at the ballpark.
Sure did.
And you would bring the donuts and
Jelly donut diplomacy.
that was me. I was the only one eating the jelly donuts. Yitzi wouldn't eat the jelly donuts, and Greg wouldn't, but we'd drink coffee, we'd eat donuts, and we did that for the entire year, and we worked out, I think, something that really is historic. Would you like to make any comment on it?
No, it's just, this is, you mentioned before, I will say first, he failed to mention at the scene of that armed robbery, he was the third person on the scene. He was our backup, myself and Officer Franklin. So I do give him credit. And it was actually kind of comforting to see him pull up anybody that was on our side. We certainly appreciate it. But this is our 4th contract that we've negotiated together since 2000. 2000, and each one of them has been rewarding, and you pick up. I've learned a lot from you, just in how to deal with people and how to treat people with respect, regardless of what's going on. And I think without that, we probably would have gotten bogged down along the way, all those different years into this. So I do definitely appreciate the way you've approached the men and women of the PD, as well as our contract negotiations. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Greg.
And thank you for the
Yeah, we will shake their hands. And with that, we mirrored that contract with the police lieutenants union, and so we think we're in good hands going forward. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Greg is a lieutenant, a detective in our police department, and is presently working. We share him with the county of Rockland on different tasks. At this time, I'd like to bring up Mr. Tress, Samuel Tress. And I'd like to ask Christian Sampson to come up and to swear him in. And let's not forget, let's give a hand to Christian Sampson, our town clerk. Chris Sampson just came off of being the president. Now he is a president emeritus of all the town clerks in the state of New York. There are 932 towns, and he was the president of that association. We're very proud of him. I went up to Buffalo to there for his swearing in. He invited me one time to one of their regional meetings, and now I see why he always has a smile on his face. I went to this regional meeting. They had 300 clerks there, all women, and Chris.
It's not bad duty.
It was a tough duty, but somebody had to do it. Somebody had to do it. And I'd like to introduce Samuel Tress, who is our newest council member. And I'm just reading the book about your father, who was a man who spent his entire fortune. He owned worked at a textile company, sold it all in order to get people out of the concentration camps during the Second World War. And when he sold everything he had, he then went out and borrowed money, because he knew that for every small amount of money, he could bring another person home out of that concentration camp. And we're very proud of him, and we're very proud of the service to this community that you've put in on the various boards, and we're so glad to have you on the town board.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Samuel Tress.
I, Samuel Tress,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the
that I will
Constitution of the
support
United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New
and
York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties
and I will faithfully discharge my duties
as councilman for the town of
as
Ramapo
councilman for the town of Ramapo,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me Hashem.
So help me Hashem.
Thank you, Chris. A few years ago, many years ago, maybe decades ago, I ran into a man from Ireland, and his name was Danny Withers. And he was a good friend of mine. And he ran an establishment here in town, and I remember he came up to me one day and he said, "Let's buy one of those tickets for the $10,000 pool at the Ancient Order of Hibernians in Pearl River." I said, "How much is it?" He says, $100. I said, $100? I don't have $100. He goes, "We'll split it, $50 each." So we did. So we put in, and they had 1,000 people that put in go in for this prize. So we went over to the drawing, and Danny Withers, who was a very active member in the AOH, was doing the drawing. And so everybody, they put all the balls in the little machine, and they started spinning it. And the place was packed. It was just like this linoleum floor and everything. The place was packed. And everybody wanted to win that $10,000. And he's moving the ball, and then he stops. And the ball comes out of this little basket and is right there. And Danny reaches down to pick it up, and he drops it. And it bounced. It bounced on the linoleum, and it went under the chairs. And he's diving around under the chairs. People are jumping around them. And he goes, "Oh, I found it." And he comes back, and he opens it up, and guess who won? Danny and I won. Now, a lot of people were thinking this was not fair. How did they know that was the same ball there and it wasn't somewhere under those chairs? But we spent the money. And we spent it very quickly because we wanted everybody in that room to be happy. But Danny was a real character. He was a loving man. He called me up one day and he says, "I have somebody very special here I want you to meet." It was Jerry Adams. He was just coming off of the struggle in Ireland for freedom. And I went down to Ireland's restaurant and went upstairs and met Jerry Adams. It was one of the most moving moments in my life to meet Jerry Adams, someone who really was out there fighting and struggling. We all have struggles, and they're all over the world, and they're ongoing right now. And, we can't forget about this. So just coming over, I heard of a serviceman was just killed in Afghanistan. And we have young men and women fighting all over this world with bullets whizzing by their head, which is why we need to get our act together here. And we need to be on the same page. And we need to be pulling that wagon in the same direction and to making sure that we do have access to opportunity for everybody. But Danny has several kids, and one of them is a dear friend of mine. That's Pat Withers. And at this time, I'd like to call Pat up, and I'd like to make the announcement of making Pat Withers a deputy supervisor again, and have Chris Sampson swear him in.
And repeat after me. I, Patrick Withers,
I, Patrick Withers,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties as
and I will faithfully discharge my duties as
Deputy Supervisor
Deputy Supervisor
for the Town of Ramapo,
for the town of Ramapo,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my
So help
ability.
me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You want to say a few words? All right, Chris, we got one person left to swear in.
It's always been official.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't be the town clerk that I've become without the support of this supervisor and this town board. I mean, there's no question I owe a lot to Chris St. Lawrence and this town board.
This is from the man who just finished the capital campaign for the YMCA in Nyack. Very successful campaign, and we're very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wow, this is one of my honorary chairs, so.
You know what an honorary chair is?
Had a lot of pull.
You know what an honorary chair is?
That's the pull. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Your supervisor's family wanted him to make it, so I want to be his family.
Oh, yeah. Oh. There's my brother.
All right.
And my sister's going to come down, too. Well, this I appreciate.
Where's Jack? We may have a photo op here, Jack. Right. So raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Christopher P. St. Lawrence,
I, Christopher P. St.
do
Lawrence,
solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties as
and I will faithfully discharge my duties as
Supervisor of the Town of Ramapo,
Supervisor of the Town of Ramapo,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my
So help
ability.
me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Need you to center yourselves.
And I'm going to tell the families that when we get ready to go into the regular part of the meeting, and anybody else, that they're allowed to leave the hall if they'd like, or they can stay for the meeting. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a 5-minute recess, so the families will have a chance to recoup.
alternative to Orthodox Jews. Are you Orthodox?
Okay, we are back in session, and our first order of business is going to be the approval of the agreement with the Ramapo Police Benevolent Association. I'd like to take a motion by Mr. Ullman, seconded by
Withers or the whole board?
Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Greg, come on up and give you a handshake. Passed unanimously.
I never thought that was going to happen. Not enough donuts.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agreement for the Ramapo Police Superior Officers Association. Moved by Councilman Ullman, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Dave, you want to come up? Lieutenant Lancy or Lieutenant Emma there too?
Come on up, Lieutenant Lance.
Oh, there it is. And,
Appreciate it. Thank you. Congratulations. Happy and healthy New Year. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Congratulations to you again.
I just said.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the appointments. The first appointment is appointment of the town clerk's office, appointment of the town clerk register of vital statistics.
Sounds exciting.
And that's Blima, right?
This is me.
Oh, this is you.
Well, it could be.
Okay. Who's going to take the role?
I would accept.
So this is the appointment of Christian Sampson as our town clerk. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Congratulations.
I think it's been like 20-something years that there hasn't been a Friedman at the seat. 20 or 30 years.
I think you're right. Okay.
Between Ann and Friedman.
And now we have Samuel Tress Friedman.
I would say something rather than.
The next is the deputy town clerk, which is Maureen Pihash. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Maureen couldn't be here tonight, but Chris, send our love along to her.
I certainly will, Mr. Supervisor.
Next on the agenda is the appointment of the Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics, Sharon Oshkowitz. Osherovitz. Thank you. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the appointment of the Sub-Registrar of Vital Statistics, Blima Gross.
Charles?
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is appointment of our town attorney. Do we have, for Michael L. Klein Esquire, do we have anybody that wants to move that? Mr. Tress, you'll move that? Okay. Anybody else want to second it?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Michael, congratulations.
Thank you very much. And you have many brown noses out there.
Yeah, the whole audience is clapping for you. I wonder why. The next item on the agenda is the appointment of the first deputy town attorney, Alan Berman, Esquire.
Oh, now I take it.
Moved by Councilman Tress, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Congratulations, Alan. Are we going to make them come up here and shake our hands? Or
Yes.
are they just a wave? I think
You should embarrass them a little bit.
I think they should be embarrassed on
think
TV.
Alan has
Come on, Alan.
Alan has to get a
Oh, put your pants on, Alan.
Would anyone like to super quick hand?
And we're hoping that this year, your 38th year, Alan, that you finally get it right. All right.
And that's the former town Santa Claus, too. Not that many people remember that.
We got to fatten him up a little bit. Next item on the agenda is the appointment of a deputy town attorney, Janice Gittleman, Esquire.
Charles?
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Congratulations. Michael?
Ms. Gittleman is sitting on the beach in the Caribbean with a pina colada in her hand, and she sends her warm thank you to all the board members.
I knew she was the smartest.
Were we setting the salary schedule here as well? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the appointment of the deputy town attorney, Michael
Speck.
Oh, we are going to do Michael. I thought he was tabled. Michael Speck. Moved by?
Withers.
Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you.
For the next 70 attorneys in the office, I won't be standing anymore, so come by and sitting.
Now the appointment of Deputy Town Attorney Merrill Trudler.
Charles?
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Supervisor, are we going to appoint the...
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. You use this?
That's right, that's right. I know you was shy, you being shy.
The next is the appointment of the Assistant Town Attorney, Anita Conklin.
Charles?
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Keep it up. Just noticed Michael came off the stage.
I didn't do that for Alan.
Moving on up. Next is the appointment of the Assistant Town Attorney, Beth Finkelstein. Moved by Deputy Supervisor. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Congratulations. Happy to help you. Same here. Thank you. Next is the appointment of Assistant Town Attorney Dennis Lynch. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Whoa! Beat the odds in Las Vegas. There it is.
Supervisor, point of order on behalf of the attorney staff.
Yeah.
Can we leave now? Everybody but you.
Well, Supervisor, if we can't leave now, Alan has called an immediate meeting at the town attorney's office for everybody. So.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Could we go home?
I know how busy the town attorney's office is, and I know how lucky we're going to have so many dedicated people working in the town attorney's office. So I know they need to get their sleep. So absolutely, Alan, anybody can leave at any time. And just make sure you help the East Ramapo Marching Band with their equipment, not getting on the bus.
We've not approved the salary schedule yet.
So the wise attorneys will wait to see us approve the salary schedule. But
We should throw in, Mr. Supervisor, we do have two of the staff members that are, what about Miss Linda there and?
Three, Judy and...
We have Judy and
Mindy.
Cindy? Mindy, sorry.
and the staff, I'm sorry, and the staff. And Linda. Okay, next on the agenda is the appointment of the Receiver of Taxes Deputy Director of Finance, Nat Overman. Moved by Councilman Ullman, second by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Loyal person.
The next is the appointment of the Deputy Receiver of Taxes, and that's Christian G. Sampson.
That's a new position, right?
Moved by?
That's a new position for you, right?
No, he's
He
always
used to
had that.
be always the...
No, he's moved by Councilman Tress, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Next is the appointment of chairpersons of our boards and commissions. First, 6A on the agenda is our golf course committee, and we did unfortunately lose our chairman this year, passed away, Jim Reese, who was just a wonderful chairperson of the golf course. But we have a great person that I grew up with here in Suffern, and is born and raised here, and that's Terry Grosselfinger.
Withers?
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Commissioner on, the Chairman of the Commission of Ethics, Richard Weinberger, Esquire.
Pat, who's that one?
Withers.
Moved by Pat Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the appointment of the Chairman of the Planning Board, Sylvan Klein.
Charles.
Moved by Councilman Tress, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the appointment of the chairwoman for the Zoning Board of Appeals, Charlene Weaver. Moved by Councilman Tress, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the chairwoman of the Citizens Advisory Committee, Community Development, and that's Mark Berkowitz. Chairman, excuse me. Moved by Councilman Tress, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. The next item is the chairwoman for the Site Selection Committee, and that's Karen Kornreich.
Withers.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by
Charles.
Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the appointment of the Community Health and Wellness Committee. That's Dr. Isaac Wurzberger.
Withers.
Moved by Mr. Tress, Councilman Tress, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next appointment is the chairperson of the Ramapo Taxi Advisory Board, Yvonne E. Lewis.
Charles.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by
Withers.
Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. The next appointment is the town historian. That's Detective Craig Long.
Withers.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the appointment of the Ramapo Traffic Safety Board, the chairperson, myself, Christopher St. Lawrence, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Appointment of the members of the Ramapo Traffic Safety Board, and those members are myself, and Captain Wydell, Captain Coakley, Detective Lieutenant Emma,
Blaine.
And Blaine Howell.
Charles.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Thank you, Council. The next item is the designation of the official depositories for the town of Ramapo, and they are Key Bank, HSBC Bank, TD Bank, Sterling Bank, Capital One Bank, Greater Hudson Bank, Hudson Valley Bank, and another one on here, what we had on here was the Northeast Community Bank. And that's a new bank in Hillcrest.
Yeah.
That one. Charles.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by
Withers.
Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the designation of the official newspaper for the town of Ramapo for all of our legal notices and all of our advertisements. The designation of the official newspaper for 2016 is the Journal News, 1 Crossfield Avenue, West Nyack, New York.
Withers.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. The next item is the designation of newspapers for informational purposes in 2016. It's the Rockland County Times, the Rockland Review, El Sol, Rockland Chronicle, Rockland Bulletin, Muncie Advocate, El Clarín, and the Community Connections. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the designation of the WRCR 1700 AM as the official town radio station for 2016.
Withers.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. We fixed the resolution says 1300, it's 1700 now, okay? There are two spots in the whereas and the therefore. Okay, it's his first mistake, but believe me, not his last one for the year. Oh, he threw it right under the bus. I'm calling the radio station and reporting that. They'll be on the news. The next is the designation of the official broadcasters for 2016, and they are Cablevision and Verizon Fios. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. The next is the designation of our town photographer, and that is Shrivki Weisberg of Muncie, New York. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the designation of elective online news services for 2016. They are the Ramapo Times, the New City Patch, Newsday, Rockland County Journal News, and the Nanuet Patch. I think we want to put in the Nyack Patch as well. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by
Withers.
Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Item I is the setting of the mileage rates, meal rates, and attendance at schools, seminars, and other related businesses. Moved by?
Charles.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. That's just the reimbursement that the U.S. General Service Administration has put in place for the year 2016 for New York with submissions of receipts, and without receipts, the maximum reimbursement shall be $60. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the salary schedule for 2016.
Withers.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Now you can leave, Ellen. Next is the appointment of the Director of Emergency Services for 2016, Christopher P. St. Lawrence, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. And appointment of the Deputy Director of Emergency Services for 2016, and that is Anthony Malia, and Captain Coakley, and Captain Wydell. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the woohoo! You can come up too. I know it's a. Okay.
You gotta blow kisses like
Next is the designation of the town board members as the police commissioners. Moved by
Withers.
Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is, and I spoke to her on the phone tonight, is the designation of Deputy Commissioner of Police Affairs, Francis M. Hunter.
Withers.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the appointment of our police chaplains for the town of Ramapo and our police department, and they are Yehuda Rossler and Monsignor Joseph Gianderco.
Charles.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by
Withers.
Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is our liaison with the police department. For our police community liaison for 2016 is Israel Kahan. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, carries unanimously. The next appointment to our police community liaison is Juan Pablo Ramirez. Moved by
Withers. Oh, sorry.
Councilman Ullman, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Item of R1, the State Advisors LLC. Moved by
Why is this different than the years before?
It's all the same.
It's the same as last year. Last year, it's not the same as 2 years ago. The amounts.
Yeah, it's the same as last year.
Last year went up for those reasons. It should be back the same as 2 years ago. The same amount as 2 years ago.
So you want to amend that to 5? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The same as-
Moved by Councilman Ullman to make it 5 instead of 6.
Numbers were
Instead of 6,000, it would be changed to 5,000.
Moved by Councilman Ullman, seconded by
Withers.
Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is acceptance of special counsel police labor. Moved by
Withers.
Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the appointment of a bond counsel. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the Rock and Orange reporting. Moved by
Charles.
Councilwoman Charles, second by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is Frederick P. Clark. Moved by
Charles.
Charles, seconded by Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the appointment of Special Counsel Environmental. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is Special Counsel Litigation. Moved by
Withers.
Withers, seconded by Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the acceptance of proposal Special Counsel Board of Assessment Review.
Charles.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the appointment of Value Plus
Withers.
as our tax certiorari audits. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
I think we skipped Mr. Brown.
Oh.
Lawrence Brown.
And motion for
Withers.
Lawrence Brown, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Acceptance of Daniel Duffy Esquire for a Public
Withers.
Service Commission and Utility Issues, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. Jeff Welch is our environmental consultant, moved by
Charles.
Councilwoman Charles, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is Audio Services, Jack Sensenbaugh, moved by.
Charles.
If you don't do this, the TV goes off. Just want you to know, okay? Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the Public Affairs Consultant, Phil Tisi. Moved by Councilwoman
Withers.
Charles, second by Deputy Supervisor Withers. Next is Gene Fields, our Computer Consultant. Moved by
Withers.
Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Come on up, Gene.
Don't hold back, Alan.
Congratulations, happy to help you, New Year. A motion for consulting services for Teresa Reed. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. For our real property inspector, William White.
Withers.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Excuse me, I got lost here.
Oh, we added one in there.
I got that.
Teresa Reed and then,
Who moved and seconded Reek?
I did.
and Ullman.
Charles Ullman, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And
Withers.
White,
Withers.
Withers, and it was seconded by Charles.
thank you, I
Or was
apologize.
it Ullman?
No.
It-
Okay. No difference. That's fine.
And we vote on all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next is Susan Manoff, and she processes our Article 78 procedures. Moved by?
Charles?
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously. Woo-hoo! Next is Linda Passman for clerical assistance in 2016. Moved by
Withers.
Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Michael, gonna come all the way down.
Congratulations. Thank you. Lots of luck.
I'll get all my kisses back in the office. Some owe me.
She's joined by her lovely husband for many years. Thank you.
Authorization for use of the supervisor's vehicle.
Withers.
Oh.
I got it.
Yeah,
I
thank
got
you.
his back.
That's the Zamboni.
Oh! It's a good one. It's a good one. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Tress. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Motion to adjourn.
Charles?
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by
Withers.
Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Thank you all very much. Thank you for your patience.